Sitting next to me is xTool's latest laser. For a long time, and really up until this laser, if you wanted a diode laser engraver, it was going to be open frame, meaning there was no enclosure around it, and you had to kind of put your own. Wasn't the best. There was a lot of things that just weren't automated and all of that. But when xTool introduced the S1, it kind of revolutionized that. This is one of, if not the first, Class 1 certified diode lasers. Now, what does Class 1 certification mean? Well, simply put, that means that you can, with this lid right here closed, use the laser with no safety glasses whatsoever. That's a huge thing for me. I hated having to put safety glasses on, or if I needed to run something quick, closing the enclosure or any of that on my last laser, which was the xTool D1 Pro. But with this, it's all enclosed, it's all in one, and that comes with some more benefits and some drawbacks at the same time. With the S1, you are looking at a fully enclosed system, like I said, that's about 20 inches by 12 inches, whereas the D1 Pro was about 15.5 by 15.5. And you could also take the D1 Pro and just set it on top of something and engrave straight onto it. Well, theoretically, you could do that with the S1. It's not really designed for that. So you're a little bit more limited in that aspect. But overall, you have more engraving room, so you can engrave kind of Glowforge size pieces at that 20 by 12 ratio. But there's also a lot of other features that this brings with it. If you're familiar with the P2, which is the step up from the S1 and xTool CO2 laser, you know about the conveyor system. Well, this has that conveyor system as well. And you also will find the 40 watt module that I have installed right here, as well as a 20 and 10 watt diode, and then a 2 watt infrared, which will give you so much, just a range of engraving capability and pricing. At the time of recording, I believe the 10 watt starts as low as $900, which for an all-enclosed system like this is great. Now, another step up that we got with the S1 is going to be the automatic air assist. You'll see me kind of plugging all that in just a minute when we get to the unboxing and setup. But for the long and short of it, it is a air assist unit like normal, but you've got 3-4 different settings on it, as well as auto. When set to auto, your S1 will control how much air it calls for. Very similar to how Thunder's dual air system works, or even how my 80 watt laser right over here, I've got a dual air system for that, for lower power when engraving, or lower air when engraving and higher air when cutting. The S1 now does that automatically. So that means that you can call for very low air just to keep the lens clean when you're doing engraving jobs, which is great, especially for something like leather or MDF. And then as soon as you go to cut, you can kick that into high gear and have that run so you get a much cleaner cut. On my D1 Pro, when I was running that, I would have to run those as 2 separate jobs. So I would run my engraving job first, the laser would finish and kind of wait for me to go back and do something. Then I'd have to go back, turn my air assist on, and then start the cut. So jobs took way longer than they should have, because I would have to wait for it to finish part 1 before I could go to part 2. And I tried leaving air assist on the whole time, and the problem with that was I was getting soot everywhere on the engrave. So the S1 kind of solves that issue. There's a lot of other really cool things that this laser can do, but we'll talk about more about those towards the end of the video. For now, this is going to be kind of my unboxing of the S1, getting it all plugged in, set up, all of kind of the stuff configured, showing you around it, and then running some projects. So this is not one of the pieces of slate that I engraved, but I engraved a piece of slate, a piece of solid walnut, some Veg-Tan leather that was 4 to 5 mil thick, or 6 to 7 mil thick, and then a piece of 1/8 inch plywood. I cut out the plywood in the leather. Obviously didn't cut the walnut, way too thick for something like this, even too thick for my 80 watt, and of course did not cut the slate. But you'll get to see some of the results of that. I've got my engraving speeds on there. I don't have the cut speeds on the screen, but I do have that in the voiceover that you'll hear me saying as those are running. And then once you're done watching all that, I'll meet you back here with the finished products, and we will kind of take a dive into that and look at those items, kind of see what they look like. I'll show them to you with some up close shots and stuff. But overall, very impressed with the S1. And if you really just kind of want the long and short of it, I think this is the best diode laser on the market, period, right now. I don't think there's a better option out there. xTool did send this laser to me. I get no money from them from it. They're not paying me for this review. They did provide the laser and all the accessories you'll see in this and future videos on the S1, but they don't get to see this video any earlier than you do. They are seeing it at the same time. They have no editorial feedback, none of that. So this is my pure, unbiased review. I'll give you the good and the bad. We'll kind of wrap that up towards the end of the video, but it's great. If you're looking for a diode system and you've got the money to spend, the S1, especially with the 40-watt module, is phenomenal, and you can't go wrong. With all that rambling out of the way, though, my name is Patrick. This is Created Workshop. Thank you for tuning in. And now let's dive into the unboxing and setup and some first runs of the xTool S1. So getting the main box for the xTool S1 up here, it is a little bit heavy, but not too bad. You should be able to easily handle it and then just kind of get everything cut out and open. xTool did a fantastic job packaging the S1. In fact, out of all the lasers I've received, I would say that this is the best packaging job. You'll see that there are some cardboard things up here that you got to pull off first, and then you can just kind of grab it by these two straps that they've put on there that are held on with Velcro, and they do really good job at, picking everything up. You've got some material in these two green things up top, which we're not going to go over. It's some sample material and some instructions and things of that nature. But there's a lot of tape holding the S1 into the bag, and from there you will just pull it off. It's really a simple setup. There's hardly any actual configuration that needs to happen. So as you can see, once I get it over here onto the workbench, just going to get everything pulled off and get all the paper pulled off and the plastic and all that, so we can see the green shield, which this is why it is a laser like it is. There's the hose. Here comes some more of the stuff. This is the toolkit that comes with extra lenses, your keys and all that. But the green shield means that you don't have to wear any glasses with this laser whatsoever, which is pretty awesome. These are the triangular things, so that way if you don't have the honeycomb, you can still cut through, which is really nice that they include these. Obviously your power supply and kind of getting everything finished being unpacked, some more cables and all of that. And then we get to the actual laser module, which is pretty beefy, especially coming from the D1 Pro. This has a lot of heft to it, so I'm really excited about that. It feels good, it looks fantastic, and once we get to using it, it functions well. You've got this on either side, so you're just gonna have to remove two of these screws that hold the brace on, or that brace the back rail into place. So like I said, there's one of these on each side, so you have to pull both of those off and then take the stickers off. Some people leave them on. I like to take the stickers off. Then we get to the point of actually installing the laser module. It kind of sits in there and it has magnets that hold it in place while you grab the included screwdriver and the screws and get that secured down. I know you kind of can't see it through me, but it's just two screws on the top and they go in very easily. And then you've got the plug on the side for the air assist and for the laser. This is the height adjust, so you just kind of put that in and it extends automatically and then retracts. Obviously you've got the peel of the logo, we can't miss that at all. And now around the back, this is something that I wish they would have changed, in that this is not a standard USB-C connector for the air assist, but it's proprietary. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter until the cable breaks. Then you have to buy a special cable for it. But you've got your power cable, you've got your USB-C to USB-A, so you can hook it up to the computer, and then you've got the key. And the key basically means that the laser will not function unless you have this plugged in. So if you're going to be leaving for a while and you don't want it to be usable, then just pull that key out. The laser won't work no matter if somebody turns it on, connects to it, whatever. Now we have the air assist, or not the air assist, but the air exhaust. for the built-in exhaust port. It's just 4 screws off, 4 screws on. All of this is included, so that is really nice. And I've got mine hooked up to the xTool air purifier, so that's really awesome, and it works great. But if you don't have an air purifier, you can also just send this right out the side of your house. You can send this out a window or whatever. And here we are. Everything is now plugged up and ready to go, literally that fast. It took me maybe 15 or 20 minutes. And I'm super stoked with how well it worked and how easy it was compared to the D1 Pro. There's really not a whole lot of configuration that needs to happen. You just kind of put the laser module in, you take a couple screws out, and plug stuff in. You're ready to go. There's not a whole lot of assembly, and that was really nice. Here I am kind of off camera setting up the air assist, just getting all that plugged in with the proprietary cable and the air hose. And at that point, it's time to turn it on and get it homed. So the first project that I ran on the S1 was this Walnut sign. This is a new thing that we offer. I love the overall design and the way that it looks on Walnut. And let me tell you, the S1 honestly engraved it just as well as my 80 watt did. Obviously took a little bit longer, but the overall crispness and darkness of the engraving looked just as good as the CO2 laser that I have. And that was a little bit surprising to me. So I was really happy to see that. And here it is all nice and done. And then the next thing here is a plywood little keychain. This is just made out of an 1/8 inch. It's MDF core. And honestly, it cut fantastically. I was very impressed by how fast it cut. The speeds you see here are the engraving speeds. I forget the exact cutting speeds. I think it was about 12 millimeters a second at 100% power, but it came out great. As you see, nice clean drop, and a little bit of cleaning with a magic eraser took all of that soot right away. And here we have leather. Again, I have the engraving settings here, but for the cut settings, you're looking at about 45 millimeters a second at 100% power, I think. And it came out fantastic yet again. And a little bit of just pure water and then a little bit of rubbing alcohol cleaned this right up for the little bit of overburn that was really only visible when it came to the cut. And now we go to a Slate coaster. This Slate coaster is about a 3-inch-ish design. Same overall design that we did on the Walnut plaque just a few minutes ago, but it also engraved at a relatively fast speed. And I think if you had more of them in there all tiled together, you could even speed up this per item engraving. But overall, this came out fantastic. And I love the contrast that Slate has, especially when coming off of a diode laser. What do you think? I'm pretty impressed with the engraving quality that the S1 has put out, especially in the Walnut. It honestly looked very similar to what my 80 watt CO2 behind me does with Walnut, and it didn't take much longer. I'm really excited to kind of dive in and see what I can turn the settings up to. The S1 moves pretty quick. I believe it'll move up to like 350 millimeters a second, 400, which is, I typically run my 80 watt at 300. So if I can crank the power on this and be able to engrave at 300 and have it engrave well, then that will be fantastic. One of the things I'm most excited about for the S1 is the fact that it is all enclosed, like I've already talked about. One of the big benefits to that is you can bring it on location. So at our last craft show that we did towards the end of last year, we brought our D1 Pro with us to a craft show. Now, I had to get prior approval and all of that in order to bring it, but we were able to offer on-site laser engraving. It was pretty cumbersome to get it all set up with having to kind of assemble most of it there. Of course, the laser itself was already assembled, but I had to attach the module, I had to plug stuff in, I had to build my enclosure, I had to do all of that stuff, whereas the S1 is just all enclosed. I can bring this as is to an event, grab my air purifier, the air assist, which the air assist doesn't even need a separate plug. It just kind of runs off of the same plug that does its data for the auto settings. And I'm ready to go. So one wall outlet and this is up and going, to including the air purifier. And then I can function it and run it either wirelessly with my iPad or my MacBook, or plug it in over USB-C. And so that just makes this so simple to use. And I'm really excited to bring this on location up in April to our next craft show, because it's just going to make things so much easier. Now, getting to some of those items, this is the Slate, and it looks fantastic. I'll try to have a kind of a close-up shot of this, but the Slate looks great, and then both the leather and the plywood keychains also look fantastic. These would be very good sellers, and I'm excited to have those at our upcoming craft shows as well. But overall, I'm really impressed. Now, I told you that I was going to kind of talk about some more features here, and then we'll get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. So one of the big features that the S1 is bringing to the table at a lower price point is curved surface engraving. So with the automatic height adjust that this offers, which is something else that we really haven't seen on many diode lasers, you have xTool's curved engraving, where they go and have it do kind of multiple points and use that to build a height map of whatever you're doing. And that allows you to do things like spoons or tumblers even, or whatever, without having to worry about using a rotary. Or if it can't fit in a rotary, like a spoon, you'll still be able to get a perfect engrave that's in focus the whole way every time. And I'm excited to kind of use that more into the future with different engraves on different things, especially with the IR module. I'm excited for that. But that is something that is new to this, as well as the interior lighting. That's something that xTool hasn't really had on many of its other lasers before. So it's really nice to see that offered here. And just the range of options with the 10, 20, 40 watts and the 2-watt IR modules, that makes this just as extensible as the D1 Pro, except now you have the conveyor system, which the conveyor system, it will do massive signs, it will do cuts, it will do engraves, it will do essentially 18.5 inches wide by, I believe, don't quote me on this, if I'm wrong on this, I'll kind of put a pop-up here on screen, but about 10 foot long with everything set up. So that's huge, literally, that you'll be able to do something like that with an at-home laser. The fact that it does that automatically makes it more capable in some ways than my 80-watt CO2 that I've got next to me. So if I need to do a huge project, I'm definitely going to be setting up the S1. And that also kind of sets this apart. You also have the fire extinguisher system that's an optional add-on that plugs right in. If the S1 kind of finds that there's flames inside, you can have it automatically disperse that and put the fire out. So that's really good to know and to be able to have that feature. And then you've got just some little things like the ability to do the riser base, which is required for the rotary, because this is compatible with the RA2 Pro. And then, like I've already mentioned, the automatic air assist is game changer for a diode system. It means that you can engrave and cut with one kind of file for better productivity. Now with all that out of the way, kind of let's talk about some of the great things. The great things I've mentioned a lot of. I love the engraving quality, the way that it can be extended, and all the extra add-ons. I love that it is compatible with Lightburn, though you do lose a lot of the features in Lightburn that you don't get if you're not using XCS, which is one of the negatives. So we'll get to that in a moment. But you don't have that, but you do have Lightburn support. So that is a huge thing that not all lasers offer. Lightburn is my primary software of choice, and I use that with all of my other lasers. But with this, I will be using XCS, which is getting updated soon. I'm going to try to get my hands on XCS 2.0 to be able to possibly do some videos on that. But this is limited to XCS if you want to use features like the conveyor, if you want to use the curved surface engraving, if you want to use the live marking, which I haven't touched on that yet, so I'll do that here in a moment. But if you want to use any of the more advanced features, you are going to have to use xTool's Creative Space. Speaking of live marking, essentially you can just grab the laser head and move it anywhere you want, and then that will allow you to mark where you need to be. It auto updates in XCS where the head is, so you can align to that. You can use that to do circles. It will create the circle from different boundaries. You can use it to mark multiple objects. If you just want to drop in, 2 or 3 coasters, you can just mark the corner of each object, the 2 corners, and it will build all those circles for you, and you can just align to that, which is really, really nice. I do wish that worked in Lightburn though. Something else I would have liked to see in the S1 would have been a camera option. Even if it was an optional paid add-on, I really would have liked to see a camera choice for this. The camera is on the P2, which is a little bit more expensive, a lot more maintenance because you have the tube and the chiller and the mirrors and all that on a CO2 laser. But I would have liked to see the option for a camera add-on. The positioning system is a good alternative to that, but it's not a perfect alternative. There are times when a camera would be better, and there are definitely times when the positioning system is also better. But overall, this is a phenomenal laser. There's really not much ugly about it. It works great. It worked, first time as soon as I set it up. It didn't have any issues. Really, the biggest drawback is the XCS software, which hopefully 2.0 will bring a lot of updated features, UI, and all that stuff to it. But as it sits right now, XCS is the limiting factor of this machine. If more of the features were available in Lightburn, or XCS was just better software, then it would be a lot easier to do a lot of different things in here. But as far as designing an XCS or really using it, if you're coming from Lightburn, there's going to be a learning curve. There's a learning curve for me, and I've been using Lightburn for well over a year at this point, almost daily. And just some things in XCS don't really make sense. And things don't always stick when you're doing some setting changes, especially like lines per centimeter. But hopefully that'll, like I said, that'll be addressed in XCS 2.0, which is launching in the next few months, I believe. But really, if you can kind of get past the XCS issue, fantastic laser for the price. That is kind of the other main drawback here. Yes, you can start at that $899 price as of right now for the 10 watt, but if you want to go with the full, 40 watt machine and get the conveyor and the rotary and all of that stuff, you're pushing north of $2,000. At the same rate, you could get a 60 watt CO2 with a chiller and all of that for not much more. Now you're going to have a whole lot more capabilities with the 60 watt CO2 from somebody like Monport or OhmTech or somebody like that. But you're also going to have a lot more maintenance. So if you want to know more about like diode versus CO2, I've got a video. It'll be right up here. And that kind of goes through what you can expect to see as a difference. But primarily, if you go with like an S1, your maintenance is really low. Your maintenance is going to be your belts and your rails and your lens, and that's it. Your diode probably should never die. If it does, you just swap the module. When you have a CO2 laser, you have a chiller, you have 3 mirrors, you have a lens, you have a CO2 glass tube, which if you're in the middle of the winter and you leave water in that tube can expand. The water can, expand when it freezes and shatter your tube, costing you hundreds or thousands of dollars to repair. You also can't bring a CO2 laser with you on site like you can the S1. So kind of things to keep in mind, but if you are looking for like a standalone laser to have in your shop, then it might be worth considering a CO2. I'll have some affiliate links down below to some of the ones that I would recommend if you're in the market for something like that. But if you want just something that's portable, simple, low maintenance, easy to use, simple setup, and it works great on a lot of materials, the S1 is, in my opinion, the king of diode lasers right now. And I think it'll be hard to beat. I really do. I know we've got things like the We Create and the Rollimatics and stuff like that, but overall, I think the S1 is a much more complete package that just handles everything superbly and does it in a great design. So if you're looking for something, highly recommend it. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close out this video. I'll have links to everything in the description below, including the material that I use for the coasters and the plywood. I'll have the xTool link down there, just some other stuff. And if you do shop those links, we do get a small kickback at no extra cost to you. That kind of goes to support myself and my family in this channel. We do thank you for all of that support. And speaking of support, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's really encouraging to me to see those thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the questions and comments area below. I try to reply to everyone that I can. And if you don't like the video, there's a button for that too. But, you know, if you have to, you have to. I understand. There's also a subscribe button down there that I would really appreciate it if you would hit it. At the time of recording, we are just shy of 800 subscribers, and my goal is to hit at least 1,000 subscribers by the time we get into summer. So by the time we start summer of 2024, I would love to be at 1,000 subscribers. And I just really am blown away by the support that we've received on our previous videos, on our shorts, and over on our social medias and stuff. So thank you guys so much for that. And thank you so much for watching if you made it all the way to the end. In fact, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, start your comment with the word chickens. My wife and I just got some chickens, and that'll tell me that you made it to the end. And those who didn't make it to the end will wonder why you're commenting chickens down below to start everything. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you have a good day.